It was a wild night at Wrigley because the Giants jumped out early. As a matter of fact, on the very first pitch, Lamont Wade Jr. homered to right field, and that was the opening of the scoring for the Giants. 1-0 after one. That was his 14th homer of the season. In the second, Wade LeMeckler singled to shallow left field, and J.D. Davis scored. Made it 2-0 after two, and then Mike Yastrzemski, homers to left field, and it's 3-0 after three, and that was his 13th home run for the Giants, and it's not looking good. But the wind is blowing out, and anybody who's been or seen a game at Wrigley Field or on TV knows the game at Wrigley is never over. And in the bottom of the third, Dansby Swanson singles to center field. Cody Bellinger to second. Nico Horner scored on the play. And then Candelario walks Suzuki to second, Swanson to third, and Bellinger scores. And then Yan Gomes, all in the third inning, doubles to left center field. Candelario to third. Suzuki scores, and Swanson scores. Then it would settle down a little bit. In the bottom of the seventh, Suzuki homers to left field, and Dansby Swanson scores on a two-run blast from Seiya Suzuki. And then Nick Mangold reaches on a fielder's choice to third base, advances to second. Yan Gomes to third. Candelario scores, throwing error on Casey Schmidt. There were a lot of errors in this game. It was ridiculous. Christopher Morrow homered then to left or to center field. Nick Mangold scored and Yan Gomes scored. That's a three-run shot. The Cubs scored six in the inning. What an absolutely ridiculous inning. And then we go to the top of the eighth, where Brandon Crawford singles to deep center field, scoring J.D. Davis again, who had himself a heck of a game out in Wrigley Field. And then in the bottom of the eighth, Seiya Suzuki singles yet again, continuing to add to his totals to center field, scoring Dansby Swanson. And in the top of the ninth, Wilmer Flores homers to left field. That was his 21st of the year. Now, that's all the scoring that took place in this game. But as I said, and it finished 11-8, but Lamont Wade Jr. scored on the first pitch of the ball game. The Giants fall to 70-69. The Cubs improved to 75-64. The Giants are third in the NL West. The Cubs are second in the NL Central. The final score was 11-8. The Giants got one in the first, one in the second, one in the third. The Cubs got four in the bottom half of the third. No scoring until the sixth. The Giants put up three. It looked like the Cubs were in trouble until the seventh, when they put up a big 6-run inning to take control of the game. And then one run apiece in the eighth inning, as well as the Wilmer Flores home run for the Giants. In the ninth, cut it close, which is 11-8. 15 hits for the Cubs, 12 hits for the Giants, 2 errors apiece. As I said, this has been a very sloppy game at Wrigley Field, and the wind was blowing out, so you wouldn't expect anything less. The Cubs win the second straight game. Tomorrow's game is an afternoon game as the Cubs look for the sweep. Drew Smyly is your winner. With 1 inning pitched, he improves to 10 wins, 9 losses, 1 hit, no runs, no earned runs, 2 strikeouts, and 1 walk. Luke Jackson is saddled with the loss. 0.2 thirds of an inning pitched. 3 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned runs, 2 Ks, and no walks. Again, this was a crazy game in Wrigley. It looked like the Giants had this game under control for about a good portion of it until that 7th inning, I believe it was, where they scored 6 runs against the Giants pitching in that inning and really didn't look back. There was an inning where the Giants and Cubs traded runs. The wind is blowing out in Wrigley. The game is never over, and Wilmer Flores with that home run, making it 11-8. But the Cubs win, which means they keep it pace with that first for the first wild card. I believe they're 2.5 games out. Let me just check the standings on that, and we will get to it here. As it says right now that the Cubs are 2.5 up on the Reds and 2.5 back of the Phillies. So depending on what happens in Philadelphia tonight, which they are down 3-0 currently in the bottom of the sixth inning with nobody out, and they're in San Diego, so they have 3 innings left to try and keep ground with the Cubs. But the Cubs look like they're going to pick up a game on the Phillies, and we will also check in on the Brewers. The Brewers did beat the Pirates 7-3, and the Reds came back to beat the Mariners 7-6 as well. So it's a very important win for the Cubs, as the Diamondbacks are also trailing in the top of the fifth. But hopefully the Phillies lose that game to San Diego, and we'll see where we go from there, as the Cubs are currently looking to possibly snag that first wild card spot. And I will check the Central Division standings as well. The Central Division standings are as follows. The Brewers are 78-61, I believe, and the Cubs will improve, like I said, to 75-64. So the Cubs are 3 back of the Brewers, 2 up on their third place wild card, and possibly 2 back of the first wild card. The Cubs are continuing to push. It looks like we're going to make the playoffs. That makes the Cubs fan very happy, because we've had a couple of miserable years in Chicago. I'm just smiling from ear to ear. We took these first 2 games. Let's go get that sweep tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you're still here. And go Cubs, go. And as I always say, until next time, may your ego come from a place that keeps you humble. I'm Mo Money. Mamba out.